We start City and Real Madrid. Obviously, two clubs that do not like each other, that are not
Yeah.
aligned. Pep had set this up saying it was kind of like a European Classico. Real Madrid kind of entering in a very sticky situation with injuries and whatnot, even as Manchester City get a lot of their injured guys back.
Yeah.
Um, did this game unfold the way you expected? Because the start of that game, the way Real Madrid went at them, I
Yeah.
thought, okay, Carlo put a rocket up their backside after the derby.
Yeah, they started really well and they should have scored early, way before the Haaland goal as well. For Carlo to put the front four, we were not sure on Monday, were we, if he was going to play all of Rodrigo, Vinicius, Bellingham, and Mbappe together. He did with that makeshift defense. Who even he said like they'd never even trained together, all of them. So Valverde right back and Mendy left back, Asensio and Tchouameni in the center. And they started really well. And then after 50 minutes, I thought, okay, yeah, we will have a good game. I felt the rest was really disappointing. And I know in the end it's a 3-2 win. I know there's a lot of goals. They had chances. I just thought the level of both teams, especially Manchester City, was really average.
Okay, I chalked that up. Look, we saw the mistakes, right?
Yeah,
we saw the
everywhere.
mistakes, the individual errors that happen in the game, and these are phenomenal players. We're not accustomed to seeing
Yeah,
that.
not used to, for sure.
I chalked it up a little bit to the occasion that these guys are still humans, and I'm not a big intangibles guy, a big sort of confidence guy, but when you've had a lot of strife, and Manchester City certainly have had a ton of strife, I think even stars develop that little bit of insecurity, that little bit of conservatism, which can lead you to make a mistake, because sometimes a tentative option, sometimes when you think about something too much at that level with that quality on the pitch, it's not the right decision. And I think the same thing can be said for Real Madrid, because they went out, they pressed the life out of them for the first 15 minutes and they look great, but it was obvious that they're not going to do that the whole game,
Yeah.
right? Even though frankly they physically could, just mentally they can't. So I sort of chalked it up to that a little bit. But when I think back and I look at the number of chances, I think Real Madrid should have scored a lot more.
Yeah.
And even kind of that late comeback, this was not like the late comeback before with the two Rodrigo goals. This was
definitely. Yeah, I think they were unlucky to be 2-1 down. I mean, I don't know what Dani Ceballos is trying to do on Phil Foden. It's definitely a penalty. There's not even a
I
debate.
think he was trying
here.
to foul him outside the box, frankly.
Yeah, but even don't do that at all, So I think they were unlucky to be 2-1 down, and whether they stay calm, whether they knew that they had this in them to do those comebacks, I don't really believe in that anyway. This kind of Real Madrid,
The
DNA.
miedo escénico.
Yeah, we always come back, and I don't really believe that. I believe that they were the better team, even if they were themselves not that great, but they were still the better team, and that they were always going to have a chance to score because Manchester City throw a game away. They've thrown games away all season long. They can't manage a score. They can't manage a game. They can't see out a game. Where is their football IQ? I don't know. It's disappeared. It's gone to the bin. It's gone there's the river in Manchester, in the sea. I don't know where it's gone.
I believe it's the Moss River.
The canal. Where is the intelligence? I don't understand how they can make a mistake like the second goal they give away, the third goal they give away. It's beyond me how this team is just disintegrating in front of our eyes, just like this. And Pep Guardiola, I don't even know where the real Pep Guardiola is. This is not him.
Wow, you're that harsh
He
on
said himself, he said, I'm not good enough. And yeah, we know you're not good enough anymore. But really, surely there's a point where you can't keep doing nothing and just being a victim and not being active in your games. This was ridiculous.
I would push back on the fact that he did nothing. I think he made some choices that I thought were a little bit unusual. Like, for example, leaving De Bruyne out there. I would have thought that, when he made the change, moving Stones sort of deeper again, I thought that was an odd change, but I thought he's trying to do things a little bit differently. So I think he is trying slightly different things, but they're clearly not working yet. Jules, the optics of this, right? 3-2, comeback win. If you were looking at this through, say, Pep-tinted glasses,
Yeah.
you could say, all right, individual errors you can't legislate for. And this is not an analysis I agree with, right? Just to be very clear.
Yeah.
Individual errors you cannot legislate for. We were in a bad period. We're playing the defending champions. and we concede a goal in injury time due to an individual error.
Yeah.
Yeah, not great. But for most of the game, when we had the ball, for that period sort of in the middle of the game when Real Madrid ran out of steam, we were in charge, and it just cost us at the end because we made individual mistakes. Now, this is not an analysis I agree with.
Yeah.
But there are some people who say that. There are some people who say that and won't criticize Pep's choices in this game.
But yeah, but it's not true. Maybe when they were 1-0 up, but they were under pressure. Mbappe should have scored 2 goals. Bellingham should have scored a goal. Vinicius hit the crossbar.
2 individual errors and the wonky Mbappe goal, which,
Yeah, true.
Okay.
No, but the expected goals before the Haaland penalty is 0.65.
Yeah,
I think. So
they could have had 3 goals before the Haaland penalty in the start of the second half.
Yeah,
Right?
and so City were not creating enough with the ball. There was a point where they looked like even on the ball they were not really sure what to do and where the danger would come. It needs an amazing, I think, piece of play from Gvardiol for them to score that first goal, because he's at the start of it, the way he recovers the ball. Yeah, then it's a great Grealish pass, and then he chests it down to Haaland for his finish. But without Gvardiol playing at that kind of level, they don't even create that first chance and they don't even score that goal. And by then they could have been 2-0 down. Maybe I'm a little bit too down on City. I don't know. It's just that we've been waiting every week. Okay, they're going to get better. Let's see. The fact is, Gabby, that every time they play a decent team, they collapse. They don't win. We're going to say it again. In the Champions League so far, who have they beaten? Slovan Bratislava, Dinamo Zagreb, and Club Brugge. And that's it. That is it. In the league, who have they beaten now of the top teams? Okay, early on, they beat Chelsea when our friend Robert Sanchez, but they don't. They struggle against Arsenal. They're struggling against Liverpool. They're struggling against Newcastle. They are not that team anymore.
So the question is, so they're a team in transition. This is where I struggle, though, when people say, well, it's a team in transition. Team in transition means that you have some old guys and some new guys who are in there, right?
Thank you. Who were the new guys on Wednesday?
That's a thing.
Tuesday?
I didn't see that.
Exactly.
What I saw is, let me try and salvage. Jack Grealish, who will go down as one of the, I think, worst signings in history, right? For Manchester City.
Maybe that's a bit harsh, but no, I see what you mean.
Well,
they won the treble with him, and he was a big part of that treble winning team.
It's still £100 million pounds for a person who's off and injured, right? So you have a period where clearly at some point he doesn't trust him, he doesn't play him, he leaves him on the bench, he gives him like 3 minutes, and then he pops up, did well at the weekend, did relatively well last night while he was out there, and so all of a sudden, let me push Grealish now. These don't feel like Pep Guardiola type moves. It feels like the real Pep Guardiola would have gotten, I don't want to say the best out of Jack Grealish, because the best is certainly not £100 million out of Jack Grealish, but he would have gotten what he needed out of Jack Grealish. We wouldn't have had these highs and lows, people disappearing from the lineup for weeks at a time. And then, City at home, Real Madrid at home, let me go back with the experience, because experience is so vital. So Kevin De Bruyne, who I guess he started against Bruges in match day 8. I think that was his last start. But in between, plays 19, 20 minutes at a time. Again, I'm not opposed to the idea of De Bruyne. And you can always chalk it up, he's old, injuries, blah, 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 right? Same thing with Bernardo Silva. So why are they there? Could you not see they were old in the summer? Like, was this not obvious to you, or to Chiki Begiristan? I tell you what, this is a funny country we live in, right? Because it's always about the manager. It's only ever the manager's fault, and it's only ever the manager's credit, right? But Chiki Begiristan in the summer, he's a sporting director, right? He and his friends above what?
He wanted apparently to renew the squad, and this Pep said no, which I'm not sure I believe.
It depends who you talk to. You hear different things. We don't know, because Chiki Begiristan never freaking talks, isn't held accountable by anybody, and now he's leaving, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he did want to renew in the summer. Maybe Pep said no. Maybe it was the other way around. I don't know. But you can see that we're heading towards this cliff edge. You can see that over 2 years, they did nothing to refresh the squad. They accumulated this enormous, this enormous credit for PSR purposes.
Yeah.
And now they go and they spend it all, I think overspending on everybody. Every single player they signed is massive overspending in January, which again is stupid. Which again, maybe these guys will work out, but nobody believes Nico is a 60 million euro player.
No,
nobody believes that. Nobody believes Marmoush is whatever they paid for him, and Kusanov. I'm not even going to get into the poor Brazilian kid. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what they've done. You extend Kyle Walker, and then you decide you don't like him, and you fall out with him. I mean, these are deeper issues that in a normal context. Instead, all of this falls on Pep's head. In the narrative here, it's all Pep, good or bad, right? I refuse to believe that all of this mismanagement is Pep's fault. I absolutely refuse to believe
all of it, Sean. But he's partly to blame. This is his club. They don't. I know I say all the time.
Is it his club with 130 charges hanging over them, with Pep only renewing his contract during the season? Who was making these decisions? Do we really think it was all Pep? Do you think it's Pep saying like, "Oh yeah, let's accumulate money for PSR purposes when I haven't extended my contract"? Do you really believe that?
But Pep decides a lot of things at the
club. I'm sorry. I push back. Khaldoon, I don't even know how involved the guy is. Yes, you're chairman, but your day job is a bazillion times more important than what you do there. Ferran, the smartest guy in the room, Mr. Airlines, right?
Yeah.
And Cheeky. There has to be other people there who made these choices.
There is, but
and I think at some point this stuff is going to come out.
Yeah, maybe. I just don't. I looked and thought hard, and maybe you can correct me. I don't remember a top manager falling off the cliff like Guardiola and City have done this season. I can't see it. You can look at Mourinho. On a bad season, it's not even that bad. You could look at Wenger in the bad season.
Mourinho was sacked 3 points above the relegation zone.
Yeah. But okay, so maybe Mourinho then. But did Mourinho have a team like that and a spending like that in January, for example, to make things better? I don't know. Even Wenger, I just don't see it. I look at Guardiola, and again, I don't recognize the manager that he is, and this inability of seeing out games. I just don't understand how at that level with the players that they have, and some players are stupid. We know some in every team. Every team have stupid players. Like in every line of work, there are stupid people. It's just not everybody is intelligent. But you've got some very smart players in that team. You've got some leaders who are maybe not very much leaders this season. I give you that, who are smart. How can you keep conceding goals late? Brighton, Feyenoord, PSG, Real Madrid, Arsenal, all the time. Or when you're in the lead, when you're not in the lead, this inability that you have to actually stay solid and not making mistakes, stupid mistakes, it's just beyond me, man.
Let's turn it over to the Real Madrid side. You wanted a reaction after the derby.
Yeah.
I think you got the reaction. They were not perfect.
Yeah.
And look, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but it's obvious that the man upstairs wants to see Vini, Mbappe, Bellingham.
The four fantastic.
I say this with the greatest of love to Rodrigo. Like, you're kind of like the stretch in the Fantastic Four. It's kind of like the Fab Five at Michigan, like Ray Jackson's like, it's not quite as fab as the other one.
Exactly.
But whatever else, right?
Yeah.
He kind of is the Andrew Ridgeley.
But he might be the most important of them four, though, because he's certainly the one who would run the most and defend the most for the team compared to the other three.
It should be Bellingham. It sometimes is Bellingham. But yes, I know. I agree with you. I think he said until he's blue in the face, right? You can it's like if you're around children, you can tell them things or you can show them things so they realize things for themselves. I think Real Madrid's season will depend on whether these players understand for themselves the importance of not just putting in that work rate as part of the front four, but doing it in an intelligent way so that they don't feel that it's pointless running, so that they feel that when they do win the ball back, they're still just as effective going forward. I mean, I know everybody understands it. Like, none of these people are stupid, not even Vini, right? Yeah. They all understand the concept. They all look around and say...
It's what you said earlier. Physically, they can do it. Mentally, they don't want to do it because they've never done it before. So they will do it to a certain extent.
Yeah, and maybe they don't know how to do it efficiently because it's not easy. Because it's not just a question of putting in a shift. And it's not just a question of Vini chasing the fullback over and over again. It's doing it in the right way. This is not something they've generally been asked to do before. And I think that's kind of the mental leap that they need to make. and I think it's a fascinating journey.
Yeah, and I think they are so good that they will always create chances and score goals against anybody. You put in front of them Liverpool or Inter or Bayern or PSG, whoever you think are also the favorite in this competition, they will always have the chance to score because they're that good. The problem is not so much what they do with the ball. It will always be from now on what they do without the ball. So whether they decide to play super high and super aggressive and putting that pressure, or they just play a bit deeper and see. But they will always also, in my opinion, being unbalanced because they just don't. Even if Valverde comes back into midfield, I never thought that I would say that Dani Ceballos is probably one of their most important players right now because he's the only one capable of running a lot and covering the gaps that are left there and there by the.
I would hope that a fit Camavinga can do that too.
You would hope so. But right now, Ceballos is that guy because Valverde is our right back. Camavinga is not fit. Modric is 110 years old. And so this is Ceballos, which in itself is a problem. A Real Madrid team should never be with Dani Ceballos as the key player there. So this is what, and I guess at the end, for this Real Madrid season, it will always be down to if we can be more efficient with the ball, so scoring, taking our chances, scoring goals, blah, blah, then we could be inefficient without the ball, so letting chances, making mistakes like the penalty, being too unbalanced that we are overrun by people like against Milan, those kind of things. And it would be fun, I think, if you're a Real Madrid fan. It's a super fun season, I think, to go through. If you're neutral like us, then you're going to watch it and be excited to see them play because I think all their games now in the Champions League against big teams could finish 3-2, 3-3, 4-2, 4-3. No, really, 3-1, 3-0 because it's that simple. With the ball, great. Without the ball, not so much. Let's see what wins, the ball or not the ball.
I'll go back also when you said with the ball, great. Let's not forget the other big bugbear, in addition to the lack of balance, is the lack of cross on this team, which we've kind of forgotten because like other issues, other problems have become bigger. That for me remains an issue. I go back to this. One potential solution is Bellingham back in midfield. Another thing, I'll be really curious to see what happens when Rudiger returns, if he's then tempted to put Tchouaméni back into midfield. Especially it's going to depend on Camavinga's condition. Obviously, Dani Ceballos can't play every minute of every game. I go back, Valverde right back. That's my thing. I am happy for him to play there for this season. He may not be happy, but I think he should play there the rest of the season. Yeah. Because especially if Mendy's on the other side, I think you need that drive. It allows you to do so many things. It allows Rodrigo to come inside. It gives you such a solution. It even allows you, and we've seen Valverde. Valverde is not just a runner, guy who runs like a maniac and then shoots from a million miles out. He can pass a little too. It gives you the option, Valverde perhaps coming from right back, stepping into midfield, maybe even doing some playmaking, like when he's played in the middle in the two. So there's a whole range of things. Problem is, modern football, they're not going to have time to work on any of this on the training pitch. But Jules, this time not over, yeah?
No, definitely not. But I just can't see City raising their game enough to go to the Bernabeu and win by, 1 goal margin, it takes you to extra time. 2 goals margin, you go through. I just don't see it for all the issues that we've just mentioned so far on the show.
All right, enough of Real Madrid. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
Jules, it's Ousmane Dembele's world. We're only living in it. 18 goals in his last 11 games across all competitions, including 2 in the 3-0 win over Brest, which pretty much seals a place in the next round.
I don't even have any words anymore for that. I was at the game and looking at him. He didn't even have a good game and he should have scored 4 goals. He scored 2, he missed 2. He scored 10 goals in the last 2 weeks. In 15 days, he scored 10 goals.
It's amazing. Look, if you're 2-footed and you're extremely athletic and you like playing football, you will generally be very, very good at it. Yeah. It's not that hard.
But it's incredible. Luis Enrique said we need to ask him why he ate at Christmas because since Christmas he's on another planet. His own planet. L'Equipe was asking, is he the best player in the world right now, just on form?
Right, easy there, boys.
There's nobody who's scored more goals than him. I don't know who you could say that is better than him right now, to be fair. Nobody has scored more goals than him since the turn of the year.
Yeah, he's scoring a lot of goals against Brest and whatever. Okay, that's not.
But
before
he plays against, so
right. But before we elevate him and legitimately say Dembele is the best player in the world, the way the people of L'Equipe have, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
No, I'm just saying that right now nobody has scored more goals than him, so you can only play against who is against you. That's all they're saying. So incredible form, incredible for PSG the way they played. For some of it, they lost a little bit of control towards the end of the first half, and Brest are a good, valiant, brave team. But I thought it was really impressive that he's carrying this team in the way he's doing. Magic Mike Mignon makes a rare mistake and Feyenoord beat Milan 1-0 on Wednesday night. Gab, Sergio Conceição is grumpy and his front four is not working, which I think we told him.
Who would have seen this coming? This is really bad because you're playing Feyenoord. They've just fired my boy Brian Priske, right? Yeah. It's a good time to go and play them. This narrative cannot be all about Magic Mike's mistake. Yes, he made a rare mistake.
Yeah, very early on as well.
Sorry?
Very early on, after 3 minutes.
So after 3 minutes, you have 87 minutes to turn this game around. Yeah. Every single freaking time with your front four, the other team park the bus, they get you in transition. Every time it's frantic, running back, Pavlovic and Walk, whatnot. I mean, this is not the way football should be. Poor Tijani Reinders stuck back there running around when he is one of Milan's best attacking players coming from me. But he can't do that because he's got, Mr. Hissy Fit, João Felix throwing his arms in the air. João Felix was atrocious in this game.
Which we said he would anyway.
He did a couple of knee moves, though.
Yeah, he always does.
Rafael Leao, again, MIA. Poor Santi Jimenez doesn't get the ball because people around him will get the ball. And Sergio Conceição, afterwards, I'm sorry, dude, you don't make sense. He says, oh, look, everybody's talking about the front four. It's not about the front four. Although it's up to me to make the front four work.
More aggressive, he said. We're not aggressive enough.
He always says the same thing. We're not aggressive enough. Oh, and then to show how aggressive he is, right? Mr. Big Man. He spoke to the television, and afterwards you go into the press conference.
Yeah.
He's annoyed because
he had to
wait for the person ahead of him, was a Feyenoord player, I think, to finish it. He comes in, answers one question, and storms out.
30 seconds.
Yeah, dude, if Jose Mourinho does that after winning a treble, I can live with it. Okay, but, you're not there.
I know.
Just don't act like this. This just turned it into a zoo very quickly, which is the last thing Milan need. Monaco slide continues as they fall at home to Benfica, 1-0. Jules, that was some bonehead stuff from Al Musrati on his debut.
Yeah, not smart. He was on a yellow card, and then there's a big foul, to be fair, on Mbolo, and Musrati turns around towards the referee and asks him to book the Benfica.
He waves the imaginary card, which everybody knows, unless you've been living in a box. I know he was at Besiktas, but I'm pretty sure they have, in fact, I know for a fact, they have the internet there.
Yeah.
And the rules are the same at Besiktas as they are elsewhere.
Everywhere.
If you do that, it's an automatic yellow.
It's a second. So he gives a yellow, straight red, after 50 minutes. Monaco were not great in that game, but they were not bad either. There was not much between the two teams. The red card changes the whole dynamic. Pavlidis with a lovely goal again. He's really, really good.
And he could have had another.
Very good this season. And then after that, I think Monaco are very lucky that it was only 1-0 that they lost, because they could easily have lost 3-0. So let's see the second leg next week in Lisbon. But the way Monaco are playing right now, I would not give them much chance to turn this one over. Atalanta are furious, Gabi. A referee, Umut Mele, for that late Gustav Nilsson penalty that meant that Bruges won 2-1 in the first leg against the Bergamo side. Are you with Gasperini? Do you understand that?
I am. He does a whole thing about today's, not, my thoughts on Gasperini. I will never be fully with him. On this one, he's right. It's a ridiculous call. In this all-Swedish derby between Isak Hien and Gustav Nilsson, Hien puts his arm out to hold him back. If he does make contact with his face, he makes contact with the left side of his face. Gustav Nilsson, who is 6 foot 6 inches tall, he's a big boy. Oh, all of a sudden, he goes down holding the other side of his face because, of course, it's medically ascertained that the boo-boo goes from the left side of the face to the right side of the face when you need to win a penalty. And Umut Meller's right there. He sees it. I think he completely misjudges it. Gets no help from the VAR.
So why is VAR not helping?
Because they felt that the contact was there, and it's not up to VAR to judge the intensity of the contact. And I assume Meller said, "Oh no, I saw it clearly." It's just whatever. I just think probably should have ended.
It's a really bad call.
Atalanta angry. All right, Jules, we're not done because we have more quick hits. How about a quick detour from the Champions League to the Premier League and the last ever Merseyside derby at Goodison Park? This was old school.
Yeah.
Right down to the yellow cards, the flying tackles, the Peter Reedism of it all in the first half, right down to the 97th minute equalizer from the Everton captain, James Tarkowski.
Yeah, what game? I mean, not in terms of quality on the pitch, because we knew it was going to be a dog's fight, and that's exactly what it was. It was all about fighting. Liverpool didn't do much really with the ball, but they still found themselves 2-1 up after being a goal down. Mo Salah coming to the rescue with a goal and an assist. In a game where he didn't get much and Liverpool didn't get much at all.
It felt like those were the only 2 times we saw him in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, completely. You're right. And we thought, okay, again, Liverpool finding solutions and answers to problems that opposition can cause, and what a win this would be, because it would take them 9 points clear of Arsenal now with the same amount of games played. But it was without counting on the spirit of Goodison. And for the last ever Merseyside derby there, as we said before, they moved to the new stadium. A good old school lump of a cross by Mykolenko, a little bit of a push on Konate, and then Tarkowski with a great volley. That volley goes into the stands, right?
When it's a centre back hitting it, usually, yeah.
He said, well, it was last minute. I thought the ball goes wide. Why not? Well, he did, and well done to him.
What I loved it was old school, but it was also modern era, because the VAR review took forever.
Yeah.
Because for many different stupid reasons, the best league in the world
Offside,
doesn't have
everything,
semi-automatic offside. The amount of time you could see the camera angling it, I'm imagining some nerd there trying to draw the line in the parallax view and all this nonsense, and then deciding about the foul on Konate, and then eventually saying, it's the last game at Goodison. Just let it go, man.
Just let it go. And Gab, there was plenty of afters to Abdoulaye Doucouré, my boy, and Curtis Jones, both sent off after the final whistle, as were Arne Slot and one of his assistants.
Okay, I'll do Arne Slot too. You know what Arne Slot did? He did this stupid, Tuchel passive aggressive handshake where he shakes the hand and he doesn't let go and looks you in the eye. Dude, all right, it was horrendous when Tuchel did it, because let's face it, Tuchel looks physically like a big dork. It also looks stupid when Slot does it, because there's something kind of doughboy about Slot, and he's got the round head and the kind head. The only people who can do this are people who look badass, right? So Nigel Pearson
nobody should do it anyway.
You shouldn't do it, but if you are going to do it, you need to have it. Yeah. So anyway, he gets sent off. So does his assistant. I don't know who's going to be taking charge of the team next week. As for Doucouré went to celebrate in front of the Liverpool fans.
Yeah.
You know my feeling about this. You don't do this, right?
Yeah.
And Curtis Jones went over and dealt with it. I have no issue with it. If I'm not fining Curtis Jones if I'm Liverpool, because you can't do that. I am fining Doucouré, frankly, if I'm Everton.
I'm not, because he's Paris born and bred.
There you go. Yeah. Paris born and bred. Bayern went away to Celtic 2-1 in their first leg. Jules, this looked less than convincing to me.
I mean, it looked good for an hour, and there were 2 goals down. Great goal by Olise first, and then no marking on Harry Kane on the corner. I don't even know at this level how you can forget to mark Harry Kane on the corner. But anyway, they go 2-0 up, and then you think, okay, they haven't played great, but still they had a lot of the ball, they controlled the game, and the crowd, the atmosphere, etc. And you think, okay, they're just going to see this game out. Again, going back to match management, controlling things. But because this is Bayern, and because that's not what they do, and they haven't done it all season, then the last 15 minutes becomes all shaky, and they concede a goal. Johnston could have scored to make it 2-2 late. And in the end, in this game, Celtic have a higher XG than Bayern.
Well, you know what it is too? When you play and you press, you want to be positive, and you camp out in the Celtic half as they did earlier in their game. Every single time in transition, poor Kimmich and Goretzka have to get on their bikes. And I'm like, do I really want Kimmich to make 30 sprints the length of the pitch a game? Is this good use of Kimmich's athletic ability?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
No, definitely. Weston McKennie and Samuel Mbangula score as Juve beat PSV Eindhoven 2-1. Gab, is that better from Thiago Motta and his team?
It's a little better from Thiago Motta in the sense that I thought Juve deserved to win this game, unlike other games that they've won. It's a tremendous finish from Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie playing in number 10.
Yeah.
I'll remind you who did not start in this game: Kefren Turam, Koop Meiners, and Dusan Vlahovic, of course. Koop Meiners and Turam, who they spent a fortune on. And you're still changing things. And you have got Lloyd Kelly at left back.
I mean, I never want to see this again, please.
Renato Vega did okay at center back, although let's face it, makes more sense.
He should never wear this shirt in the first place. I know.
Okay, but once he's there, if you are going to play Lloyd Kelly, well, you'd rather he played R. Kelly, right?
Not even, no.
You would play Lloyd Kelly at center back, would seem to me make more sense than Renato Vega at left back. But whatever, maybe you don't play either one. Maybe you just wait for Bremer to come back. So it's important to get the win. I think it's by no means a foregone conclusion
Definitely.
in Eindhoven. Oh, and shout out, by the way, Conceição. He does the same thing over and over again. He stops the ball, but it works.
Well,
it's like watching Garrincha.
Benitez in goal should not let that ball go then back into Mbangula.
Oh, come on. Make Mangula happy. Arsenal haven't confirmed this, Jules, but plenty of others have. Kai Havertz's season is over with a serious hamstring injury sustained during warm weather training in Dubai.
Yeah, pretty much. Like you said, nothing official yet, but it is true. Okay. It is a fact.
It's February. I'm not a doctor. I know you are, or close to one, more medically adjacent than I am. If it's a hamstring injury that keeps you out for 4 months, through the end of the season, then it's a hamstring tear or snap. It's not
surgery, pretty much.
Yeah,
it has to be. No, he's bad.
And that means he's not back for a long time.
Yeah, he's bad. It's bad. Martinelli is out injured. Gabriel Jesus, we know. Bukayo Saka still not back, of course. They literally only have Trossard, Sterling and Ranieri to play up front against Leicester on Saturday.
When did Ranieri become a centre forward or even a winger? I know he's playing winger.
The front three, but he's going to play on that right-hand side like he has this season, even if we've been saying this is probably not even his best position. And that's all. So if you want to change something, you play Merino up front and you lump the ball. I don't even know.
No, play Declan Rice up front, lump the ball up to him. Go old school like Leicester used to do when they put the centre back up.
Yeah, I don't know. This is bad. I mean, again, we can talk about squad planning if you want, but you can't plan for injuries like this, to have no Odegaard for 2.5 months, no Saka for 4 months, no Havertz for 4 months. Right. Surely they should have signed a number 9 at some point. Okay, maybe.
Hopefully somebody had thought of that.
But this is bad.
Can I make my bold suggestion, which I made off air last time? Given the context of this, if they need bodies in the front three, and at some point, if Calafiori is fit and then Ben White returns and Tomiyasu, I'm assuming these guys are coming back sooner rather than later, Miles Lewis-Skelly on the wing. You heard it here first.
Jim Ratcliffe or Sir Jim. I'm not sure we want to call him Sir anymore because of all this mess. But so you're only going to be Jim Ratcliffe from now on. We'll reportedly lay off another 100 Manchester United employees, and The Guardian reports that he thinks it's necessary to stop the club from being bust. From going bust, sorry.
Okay, so this story, it was in The Guardian. It was actually in the headlines. Now,
so he really thinks that there was a possibility that United would go bankrupt and just disappear.
Okay, I don't think Ratcliffe spoke on background to The Guardian himself and says, this club's going to go bankrupt. I think somebody told The Guardian Ratcliffe had to do that because he thinks the club is going bankrupt. I don't even think he thinks the club is going bankrupt because Manchester United are not going to go bankrupt. It's not possible. Also because, dude, he owns 27.7% of the club. The other people who own the rest of the club are billionaires. They will make sure the club doesn't go bankrupt. They may make massive cuts because they like to make money. They may sell the bank to whatever. But the club's not going to go bankrupt. No, what he's doing is he's trying to improve the books again. But having laid off 200 people before, if it's another 100, this is a lot. Among them, Jackie Kay, who I don't know if you know her, but really well-known figure at the club. She used to be David Gill's assistant, started that. Now I think most recently head of operations and logistics.
She's been there like 30 odd years or something.
Yeah, like a really cult figure at the club. Ex-pro ambassadors like Brian Robson, Andy Cole, and Dennis Irwin are taking pay cuts. Reportedly, somebody else reported they don't get their £100 Christmas bonus.
No, that's true.
But instead, they do get a gift voucher for Marks and Spencer's.
Nice. For the turkey, to buy the turkey Christmas.
£40? Maybe, I don't know. Marks and Spencer's, for those outside the UK, is a sort of very middle class chain of supermarkets that kind of pretends it's whatever. Anyway, it's good. It's a good place. I don't want to say anything negative about them. I shop there myself occasionally. There's broader stuff going on as well, which I don't know to what degree it's fair to link to Ratcliffe, but it just kind of goes to show that, even really rich people, they don't just have this massive bank balance. Their money's tied up. So the All Blacks are reportedly taking legal action against Ineos.
They haven't paid the installment.
They haven't paid it. Fitch and Moody's, who are rating systems that they rate corporate debt, they've downgraded the outlook for Ineos to negative. This has to do with, I think, financial reasons about the amount of depth relative to the balance sheet. So he's got a ton on his plate while trying to run the club. It's not a calm position above Ruben Amorim's head. We can safely say that. Barcelona women's defender Mapi Leon is reportedly accused of touching the private parts of an opponent
Yeah. I mean, I have to say that story. Just remember the Mitchell Valderrama, or there was a Gaza and the Vinnie Jones. No, I think in England too.
And the finger up the backside. And
Yeah, or touching the cojones.
It was the Chile guy. Was it the finger up the backside was a Chile
Yeah, I
defender?
can't remember
And
that one.
yeah.
In this case, yeah, you see on the
Cavani,
footage,
maybe?
it looks like it. Daniel Caracas, who plays for Espanyol, it was the derby that Barca won. Said that she was touched by Mapi Leon, around the private parts, as you said, Gabby, and that apparently Mapi Leon, the report said that she said, like, do you have a willy kind of thing? While touching Mapi Leon said, no, I didn't say that. I said something like,
what's up with you?
What's up with you? I don't know.
You know what it is? The reason I put this in is because this is the kind of story that in male-dominated football media, they're like, oh, look, women do this too. And this happens on the men's pitch all the time. I mean, not people touching each other's private parts unless it's consensual, of course, and not on the football pitch. But talking smack, whatever, you mentioned it before, the different instances this happens. And it's a novelty factor that it happens in women's football as well. This Daniela Caracas, who all I know about her is that she's named after the capital of Venezuela.
Yeah.
Like, this is somebody I'd never heard of. We will probably never speak her name again. And outside of her household, nobody will know who she is. Mapilon is somebody who's a lot more famous. It's Barcelona. And so all this thing comes out. But that's all it is. And then there's the prurient aspect of like, oh, look, women footballers like behaving like male footballers. That's all it is. This is such a non-story. But it is worth remarking on about the stupidity of certain mainstream media.
Yeah. Former Liverpool, Roma and Fulham defender John Arne Riise has completed a major charity fitness challenge, Gab.
I'm giving John Arne Riise a shout out because he's one of the good guys in football. Yes, 172 kilometers he covered on the treadmill in 24 hours.
That's amazing.
I have a lot of questions. I may direct them to him privately. If you average it out, it's not like he ran for 24 hours. He must have walked in between. I'm curious when he went to the bathroom. I'm curious, did he eat over 24 hours? Did he just have those little protein bars or something?
I mean, there's a French rapper, like a young one, but quite starting to get famous, who did a similar challenge to run for 24 hours. So he didn't have a target of how many kilometers he could run, just running for 24 hours on a treadmill. And behind him, he had this massive wheel with like...
blades?
Yeah,
swords?
blades. No, blades, exactly, swords. To the point that if he was stopping or slowing down, he would go backwards towards the massive wheel with the blades. And he did it, to be fair. He ran the 24 hours on the treadmill. Yeah. So well done to both of them, because that's pretty amazing, running for 24 hours nonstop.
Yeah. Now, I'm assuming somebody else has ultra runners, ultra marathoners. They would have done 3 times this. I mean, yeah, but this is John Arne Riise, who's in his mid-40s and who not that long ago was pretty chunky as well. So well done, John Arne Riise. It can be done.
Well done.
Borussia Dortmund strike 3 times after the break to win 3-0 away to Sporting. Gab, Niko Kovac is virtually in the round. Oh, Jules even.
Yeah.
Niko Kovac is virtually in the round of 16.
Yeah, he is somehow. What a weird game I thought this one was, because there was not much between the two teams in the first half. There was not much happening anyway. And then 2 back-to-back goals from Dortmund in the second half. Super header by Guirassy on the first one. And then great assist from him again in the second one. And then the last one is on the counter.
But at the end, he still scores as if he celebrates as if he just scored the World Cup winning goal.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're right, 3-win. There's no way back for Sporting. Gyökeres was on the bench.
No way back, even against Borussia Dortmund, wacky Borussia Dortmund?
Surely. Even wacky Dortmund can't throw this one away. Surely not. This was way back on Monday, Gab. Inter Milan defeated Fiorentina 2-1 to move with a point within the top of the table, Napoli. And we even have a Marko Arnautovic goal and seeing, but also a goal.
Marko Arnautovic, first league goal of the season. How about that?
It was about time in February.
Who says Inter don't have depth? No, it was good. He mixed it up again. Obviously, Inter annoyed given the way things went when they made up their game against Fiorentina earlier, and you ended up playing them twice in the space of a week. And it's 1 point. And now the screws are turning a little bit, I think, on Napoli. Back to that City Real Madrid game, the fan group that put up that banner depicting Rodri holding the Ballon d'Or with the caption, "Stop crying your heart out," it wasn't aimed at Vinicius, but rather Florentino Perez. Does this make sense to you, Jules? They actually went on social media and explained it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess good for them to explain it. I've got no issue with the trash talking or the banter, the trolling, whatever you want to call it. We've said that before. But just make sure you win, though, because then it's not a great look if you try to trash talk the opposition and then you end up on the losing side in your own stadium.
Well, two things to say to this. First of all, this isn't like Serie A in the 1980s. In England, when there's a banner in the stadium, it is authorized by the home
but like
team.
in every club right now.
Right?
Yeah.
In almost every, well, in England, certainly every club.
Yeah, but
so Manchester City,
we're aware of it, for sure.
We're aware. They looked at this like, ha ha, oh, what a right giggle. Boy, lads, this will really get Vinicius' hackles up. Oh, no, it's aimed at Florentino. Does anybody believe this? Does anybody believe?
I mean, it was aimed at Florentino, Vinicius,
Florentino, who can't even read it without his glasses.
Everybody.
Plus, it's in English.
All Real Madrid.
And
so it's also an
Oasis.
It's an Oasis line, right? That's also why they put it there.
Is it Stop Crying Your Heart?
Yeah.
I don't like Oasis.
It is one of the...
I don't like them. I don't like his caterpillar eyebrows. I don't like them.
It's one of the lyrics of the song. So there was a lot of layers to it.
I think you as a club, when you come out and you approve something like this, you're also kind of making a statement. You know, this isn't a case. This isn't like the City fans organically in the stadium singing, you know, where's your Ballon d'Or to Vinicius. That is funny. That is legit. I have no issue with this. But if you're going to do this, like you said, you have to win, and it has to be clear. I don't understand even why you need to clarify whether it was Vinicius or Florentino Perez. Like you said, it's the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. More hamstring injury news related to London-based strikers, Gab. This time, scans suggest that Nico Jackson could be out for up to 2 months. How big of a blow is this for Chelsea?
Just what have I been saying for the last 18 months? Nico Jackson does not have a backup. He's not the bionic man. If he gets injured, you're in a really, really tough place without a paddle. And lo and behold, what happens? Nico Jackson finally gets injured.
Yeah.
And Manesca not that long ago said, oh, we didn't need a striker. We have Mark Yu. I mean, come on. Mark Yu.
Please. Ben Nkunku is going to play there.
Nkunku, who has a completely different skill set from Nico Jackson. And by the way, Nkunku is also the backup at 3 different other positions, right? He's Cole Palmer's backup. He's he's the 4th winger, right? You're now stretched, and for no apparent reason. I mean, if you need to have 2 legitimate striker options. If there's one overarching thing that we've learned between Arsenal and Chelsea in the past 48 hours, it is that you need to have another guy on the bench.
Yeah.
Maybe it's somebody on the same level and they compete, they alternate, fine. Maybe it's somebody who's clearly a backup and takes up minutes against bad teams, that's fine. That man is not Mark Yu. You need to have a real guy there, like a real live person who's actually a forward. In an interview with La Repubblica, head of FIFA referees Pierluigi Collina suggested looking at, quote, single attempt penalties. Jules, what's he talking about?
I've got no idea, Gabby. I didn't see this story. So I'm going to wait for you to explain. But before, so if like me, you haven't heard the story, I would think single attempt penalties mean that in case there's an infringement or something like that, you don't retake it? Is that what it means?
No, it means that basically the rules for taking penalties during a game become identical to the rules for taking penalties during penalty shootouts.
Right.
In other words, the goalkeeper saves it, comes back into play, the ball is not live. The other players don't all stand up.
So you can't score from the rebound?
No scoring from the rebound.
That's a stupid idea.
So the argument is to make this a little bit fair, or to give the goalkeepers more of a chance to effectively not concede the goal, whether on the rebound or not.
Yeah.
Also, how many times do we see when there's a penalty during the game, the people standing around, talking to the penalty taker, encroaching, pushing, shoving? The idea is, oh, look, there's a penalty, like a technical foul in basketball.
Everybody kind of retreats.
Everybody goes away, and it's just the guy and the goalkeeper. You don't like this?
No.
Okay. He's suggesting it. He's not saying it'll happen.
No. And we both love Pierluigi dearly, but no, I would rather keep it like it is now. More changes, Gab. The Guardian reports also that UEFA are considering abolishing extra time in European knockout games. So a bit like in the French Cup, I mentioned it the other day, you go to the end of 90 and then straight to penalty if it's a draw. Do you like this?
No, it's stupid, and it's not. And just to be clear on this, when you read further, and I've also made a few phone calls, it's not like Chefrin saying like, yeah, we must do this. Okay, we'll approve it next time around. No, they're looking at every option, every situation, And this is one of the many suggestions that go in. They have 99 suggestions. 96 of them are stupid. This one is the stupid one. Well, it's stupid for another reason. You make such a big deal out of seeding. I don't think playing the second leg at home is much of an advantage. But the one advantage you get is you get an extra 30 minutes and possibly penalties in front of your own fans. That is significant. What's the point of taking it away? The reason they take it away in crappy cup competitions nobody cares about. Sorry,
it's for
French
advantage.
cup.
No, but it's for the lower league teams, obviously.
Yeah, that's
because
fine.
it's
We
an
don't need
advantage
this.
for them.
Because the big teams don't want to play an extra 30 minutes against, Smallington Town. And fine, that's why it exists. Nobody wants to sit there for another 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But the
But not in the
Champions League
yeah,
doesn't have
yeah,
this problem.
Yeah.
Major news out of France, Jules. The DAZN TV deal is on the brink of collapse. Should be official in the next 24 hours. This will have
It's another mess.
a huge impact on Ligue 1.
Yeah, basically they were supposed to pay the latest installment for the rights on Monday, 70 odd million euros. They only paid half of it because they said that they want to renegotiate basically that the league is not bringing the value of what they've paid.
They had a deal where I think they said if there's less than a certain amount of subscribers, I think it was like 1 million, was it?
Yes, but that was not before next December.
Okay.
But they are moving forward, especially because they said that the French league is doing nothing against illegal streaming and that people don't subscribe to the zone because they go on an IPTV or whatever streaming site and they don't, and that's how they watch the Ligue 1 games.
Can I ask a question? Broadcasters always complain about this. What do they want Ligue 1? I mean, with all the criticisms of the head of Ligue 1, I'm not defending the guy who Texter doesn't like, right? The poodle man. But what are they supposed to do? Like, create some paramilitary force?
No, but
with
I guess that
scanners?
with the help of the government just cracking down on streaming sites and
They wanted to
IPTVs.
lobby the government or lobby the police to.
Yeah, I think they were under the
laws
impression
are there, right? I mean,
but I think they went under the impression that the league and the government will like go together to try to fight the illegal streaming website and everything. But I think this is just an excuse anyway.
It is an excuse. Well, also, the poodle, Nasser Al-Khelaifi's poodle, as
Lebrun.
Texter calls him. Lebrun is Al-Khelaifi's poodle.
Yeah.
Al-Khelaifi's day job. What does he do for a living? He runs a paid television channel. You don't think he's concerned with piracy?
Yeah, no,
So,
absolutely. Absolutely. The thing is that there are some clubs who will be okay with that, not having all the money. Others need the money. Where do you go from there? I don't know. Apparently, there's a lot of clauses in the contract that would force the zone to pay anyway, and the company that owned the zone, Action something resources,
Access Industries.
Resources, or industries, yeah, exactly.
Owned by Leonard Blavatnik.
Yeah, who lives in London, who's a billionaire, who's losing a lot of money with the zone all around the world. But anyway, that's not the league's problem, really. So I don't know. We see there's a lot of meetings, emergency meetings. There was one yesterday. There's another one today, and we see I think the only channel that can save this is Canal Plus. Canal Plus don't want to come back into who are historically the broadcaster of the French league. As long as Lebrun is in charge, there are no way back for them. They don't want to talk to them. They don't want to negotiate with them. They're not interested in the rights. Nothing. And for me, one of the solutions is to get rid of Lebrun, who's been terrible since he became the head of the French league. Everything that he's done is bad. And I just don't see a good future with him at the helm, basically.
There's another major broadcaster, I think, who has historically an interest in sports and in football, beIN. But let me guess, I guess beIN Sport can't buy the rights to Ligue 1 because that would be a conflict of interest, given Nasser Al-Khelaifi runs Paris Saint-Germain, right? And they
currently have one game per weekend.
They couldn't buy out the whole package. That would be a major.
Well,
he doesn't like his conflicts of interest, right?
They used to have more than one. They used to have 3 games. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of people in France who would love the Canal Plus beIN Sport combo to be back. I don't know if that's even possible. Gab, I see headlines about a possible Champions League final in the US being a step closer. Why?
For stupid reasons. They've been talking about this. I mean, I think it was Shefflin said something like 10 years ago. They keep going on and on about it. There's a company called Team. They're one of those sort of marketing, logisticsy type companies based in Switzerland where you're not quite sure what they do, but they make a lot of money. They have owned kind of this sort of events space for UEFA since like the 1990s. I don't even think they have any other clients other than UEFA. But now UEFA's moved to Relevant. Relevant are the company that's owned by Steve Ross, who owns the Miami Dolphins as well. They're the people who organize friendlies in the U.S. over the summer for European clubs. UEFA already working with Relevant. There's some sort of partnership agreement in the U.S. So the thinking is, surely Mr. Ross is going to want to have the Champions League final in the U.S. Because it suits him because of this. I think you're doing 2 + 2 = 5. I don't think the Champions League final is moving to the US for a very, very long time. Probably not in our lifetimes.
You know what? I give you the Champions League final. Give me the Super Bowl. In Paris, in London, I take the Super Bowl. Yeah, let's do that. You want the Champions League final? No problem. Give us the Super Bowl.
I'm going to go on the record now. We will have a Super Bowl in Europe before we have a Champions League final in the US. 1,000%.
I'll be there for the Super Bowl in Europe. That's for sure, man.
Chelsea women's forward Sam Kerr has been found not guilty in her trial of, quote, racially aggravated harassment of a police officer. Jules, this ordeal is finally over.
Yeah, she was really relieved, and so she should. It's been a really tough time for her and her girlfriend as well, who was also involved because they were together in the taxi. We're not going to tell you the story again. You can listen to Monday's show if you want. I think the fact that the police officer took 11 months to press charges played massively against him in this case, and I'm glad for Sam Kerr that she can move on with her life now and focus on coming back onto the pitch and playing again. No love lost between two interlegends now based at rival clubs in Turkey, Gab.
Yeah, I think one more of an interlegend than the other, Jules. But Maurito Icardi, former Paris Saint-Germain legend, former Vandanara legend, not very popular in the Maxi household for obvious reasons. Sometimes he comes back out of the past to entertain us like he did then. He came up with something very original to say. He plays for Galatasaray, obviously, to diss Mourinho with, the crying one, haha, as if like nobody's ever said that before about Mourinho. Mourinho, who just sort of said, sorry, who are you? Takes the bait, and he goes all Mourinho-ish. He says, Icardi is a goat. I refuse to comment a goat's words. It's too big. Now, he doesn't clarify. And there's seriously, from what I've read, there's seriously having this debate in as if Mourinho were like Nostradamus or something. Ooh, wait, did Mourinho mean goat as in like Icardi's the greatest of all time and he's dissing him by being sarcastic? Or did he mean goat as in like an actual goat? Like,
you know, in French, when you're a bad player, we call you a goat. Like chèvre, literally. Yeah. So maybe that's what
like
Mourinho...
the cheese. I don't know, but I just love the fact that kind of like to stay relevant, these people have to go and say silly things and have goes at each other.
La Liga filed a complaint with the Spanish FA about Real Madrid over the letter in which they described the refereeing system as completely discredited. Yeah, is that the Javier Tebas, Florentino
He said he was going to do this. Real Madrid said some very serious things about the referees. What I don't get is the referees are run by the Spanish FA and employed by La Liga. But it's the Spanish FA who trains the referees, who's responsible for the referees. So I don't know why La Liga necessarily has to get involved. It's not like Tebas picks the referees and trains the referees. But we know obviously when Tebas is selling a product, which is La Liga, when you have your biggest asset constantly railing about the incompetence of the referees, if not worse, then it hurts your product. And Tebas has to go and defend that.